Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is well. This is this week's episode. It's late May. We're in sunny Glasgow, hottest day of the year probably, which is lovely. Um, and towards the end of the lockdown side of things, with rules being relaxed yesterday. And this episode today, I want to talk with you guys about and share ideas and thoughts around happiness. So, I've called this episode The Pursuit of Happiness because ultimately it's something that we are all striving to achieve, experimenting how we achieve that, what we are doing to make ourselves as happy as possible. And I simply want to share ideas, thoughts to provoke your own thoughts, opinions, perspectives on it, and hopefully add value in that sense as well. So I think it's important to start off with the title of The Pursuit of Happiness. And it's something that, regardless of our situation, we're always striving to aim towards. Now, what makes me happy might differ from what makes you happy. A lot of things that have commonly been related to happiness in the past has been, the amount of money that we can make, especially in the early stages of your career, and status games as well, whether that's job title, social status, especially with social media now, the perspective of what is deemed as happiness, and flipping it on its head in a sense of we've never had more availability to content, to resources than we've ever had before. However, we are also stuck in a time where loneliness, mental health, anxiety, and suicide are probably the highest they've ever been. So there's clearly a gap here where what we think is happiness potentially might not be true happiness to what we want. Now, let's start off with a common example here. So, let's think of a time where you had a goal that you were setting out to achieve, maybe short term, maybe medium term, or long term, to get a promotion or to get a certain fitness level. And this is a goal that we're aiming towards. Now, look, everyone's hit goals before, everyone's failed trying to achieve a goal as well. However, I want you to think of a time that you've achieved a goal and really nailed it. Everything from the planning all up to the point of actually realizing that goal. And I want you to think of that feeling when you hit that goal. And the common thing is it's actually not that great. You get there and you recognize yourself, but it's ultimately a quick hit of happiness because as soon as it happens, we're on to that next thing, right? How can I get even better? And it's almost not even rational to towards our thinking. We just automatically go into that what's next mindset of right, I've achieved that, I could be even better, or now there's expectation for me to go even further. And what we're looking for might not be fully aligned with what's actually important to us, but we're blinded by this continual improvement towards this goal. And does that make us happy? Or does that put us on a treadmill that we're unconscious to, that we don't realize for years, and actually realize that we're not happy? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying not to have goals. I think for me personally, goals are some of the best personal growth mechanisms out there. You know, we probably hit fully 20% of our goals, maybe. That's just a random figure, but it's what we become from working towards that is the most important thing. So I think goals are essential, but I'm taking the perspective of when we hit a goal, how does it make us feel? Does it fulfill us? Is ultimately what I'm asking. And feel free to disagree, but honestly, goals can sometimes be very unfulfilling after we've achieved them. We've gone through that quick hit of happiness and onto that next thing. And one of the writers or self-help people in this industry, Mark Manson, is someone whose ideas that we'll discuss a wee bit in this and maybe in the future as well. But he quite eloquently puts it in the sense of we always just go back to being 7 out of 10 regardless. If you have this amazing big house that you've worked really hard towards, and you have some kids, and you have a really nice car, and you have the latest gadgets, and you've got your partner or whatever, and you think that people will look at that individual potentially and be like, oh, they must be so happy, but they'll be 7 out of 10. And this is really important to maybe have a wee bit of perspective on. Now, I think what's really important during this time, especially when we've got a bit more time to think, is to experiment. Find out what's really important to you. What does truly make you happy? For instance, is it the club that you're a part of, that you play a sport with, or maybe, music or spending time with friends? Just because it's more simple doesn't mean that it shouldn't give you just as much happiness. And it's important to recognize that these are important to you. These are the things that make you happy. And those things are good. So make sure that you value those as much as possible. Another aspect of happiness that I'd be quite keen to raise awareness of and share with you guys is that title of The Pursuit of Happiness. Now, essentially what we're looking at is always striving towards this holy grail of happiness. And the fact of the matter is that it just doesn't exist. And I'd actually like you to flip it. So based on what I've talked about before, we sometimes reach that end goal of happiness, but it's short-lived. Why don't you flip it into the happiness of pursuit and enjoying the chase, enjoying that journey that you go on towards your goal? Similarly to what I was saying earlier in the sense of how we grow from striving towards an achievement. Take a moment to just reflect and enjoy the journey, how good it makes you feel that you are improving and that you don't need to be attached to an end goal. You might be trying to lose this much weight or win this trophy or get that job. Look at the journey that you go through towards that and how that makes you feel. A lot of the time, the most satisfaction we get is in the build up to that goal that we're going towards. The focus and concentration and commitment and discipline that you put into that is something that you should thrive on and enjoy to an extent. Think of something that you're working towards right now. And again, just take time to reflect and think, am I taking the satisfaction and enjoying this process enough? And this leads me on to the element of utilizing and using pain as a positive for growth. So pain is something that, whether you like it or not, is going to exist. Everybody goes through pain. Life's bittersweet. And you have a choice whether pain's going to be a term of suffering and discontentment, or whether pain's going to be something that you choose to thrive with, to enjoy, to view it as an opportunity to grow and become a better version of yourself. A simple example is exercise. Regardless of how fit or unfit you are, when you do exercise, your body, physically and mentally, will go through an element of pain. And again, you have a choice. Is that going to be something that you choose to suffer and not enjoy? Or are you going to use that as a motivator? That pain is you improving. That pain is a test to see how much you want to improve. And this is really important to be aware of, to recognize, as across everything in life. That was just a wee example. But when you're doing something that puts you through pain, you have a choice of how that's going to mold you as an individual. I'm not saying to suffer, to have pain all the time. I'm saying that you are going to experience it and you have a choice how you're going to approach it. I think this is really prevalent at this stage where society is, especially with self-help, the self-help industry anyway, is very positively directed. Self-love is very common and talked about a lot. However, I feel that it's important that we recognize the balance of, things are going to be bad, and recognizing that, being aware of it, and making sure that we're ready to deal with that. Don't get me wrong, I love positivity. I love the fact that, thinking positively, being grateful, are all good things, living our life well. However, it's important to make sure that we recognize the flip side of it as well. The next idea is very simple, that I'd like to share with you, and it's, again, an idea or a concept, but it's just about, on cue, it's just about having a dog. You done? Aye. And that's it. Just having a dog. This is I would say person that shows you unconditional, come here, unconditional love, attention for nothing in return. And you see how the simplest things can make them happy. The love that you show them, the going for a walk is the best part of their day. And it just really grounds you in a sense of what happiness really is. Not striving for all the next biggest, best things. Just enjoying the journey as it goes. And look, to put it quite bluntly, we are all on this planet for a very limited period of time. Now, yes, you might want to, have a legacy of some sort, make as big an impact as you can. And look, I'm all into that as well. However, the actual impact that we make won't matter that much once we're dead, to put it bluntly. And you have a choice to focus all of your attention on this goal that you're working towards throughout your life to have this impact, or you have a choice to do that, but also be conscious of the fact to just enjoy the little things in life. You know, the sun's shining today. There's peace and quiet that we've never experienced before. It's a chance to give us time to think, to write, to reflect a whole lot more than we ever have done before. And some people will talk about boredom and a waste of a few months. This is a really good opportunity, unique opportunity to look at ourselves and see what we really appreciate in life as well. And at the end of the day, if we're spending our time unconsciously working towards something that at the end of the day we might wake up and think, how have I wasted all of my time not appreciating the little things, you know, you're going to end up worrying about things that don't matter. And this is what's going to impact on, you know, your friendships, your relationships, your own well-being. And look, at any time in life, it's important to work on those. So make sure that you do. And I want to wrap up with a nice simple message in regards to happiness. And it is quite philosophical. I'm probably going to murder the quote. But at the end of the day, and I would love you to think about this quote, not just listen to it and move on. I would like you to think about it. He who is happiest is he who has the least wants and desires. So I challenge you to strip back what you want. I want you to strip back all of those desires that you have to the things that mean the most to you. Because this is where you'll find what truly matters to you and what truly makes you happy. And this allows you to have, you know, peace of mind, confidence in yourself, and again, just having that really deep sense of understanding about what truly matters to you. So I'm going to leave you with that quote. Apologies for Henry interrupting, but I'm actually quite pleased that he arrived on cue for that moment. And I would love to hear if you have any thoughts. The whole purpose of this podcast is to build upon ideas, to share ideas. All I'm doing is sharing that with everyone that's listening, to help you, to build on that. And that's just what I enjoy. Furthermore, later down the line as well, I want to converse with people. There is no agenda about having people with status on this podcast. I just want to converse, challenge thinking, hear perspectives about all things self-improvement. So if it is ever something that you feel like you would want to discuss or chat about, you'd be amazed at the value that can bring other people as well as yourself. So I'm more than happy for people to contact me in regards to hopping on and wanting to discuss certain aspects of self-improvement as well. So thank you very much for listening, and if it's helped you in any way or provoked any thought, then that makes me happy. So thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.